everybody, and welcome back to Mile Higher Podcast, episode 42.
Where we take your minds a mile higher every episode.
Every day.
And today is no different.
Is every day, bro.
Yeah, so today is going to be an extremely interesting episode, one that we've been wanting to make for quite a while, and that is on the Big Pharma conspiracy, as well as just kind of all of the fucked up things with the big pharmaceutical companies.
And just medical industry a little bit.
And just, yeah, the medical industry and healthcare, especially in the US. But it's going to be a very, very interesting episode. We have a lot to talk about. But before we get into things today, I wanted to mention that this coming week is Black Friday, Thanksgiving, and it's gonna be a weekend sale on milehighermerch.com that you don't want to miss.
You don't have to leave your family to participate. You don't have to go camp outside. You don't have to leave your house after you had your turkey.
That's true.
Shop right.
That's a perk
on your phone if you want, or wherever you are.
Yeah, you can. So yeah, guys, we're going to be running a 30% off on the store sale from basically Friday to Monday through Cyber Monday.
Well, I think we'll probably kick it off Thursday night, right?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a little bit before Friday.
Around after pie time, just when you're kind of ending the night, you're scrolling your,
Yeah. So we'll let you know the deets on that, but that is coming, and we got a limited edition grinders, guys. These are sick.
Oh my gosh,
grinders that
they won't be available until after
hoping
Black Friday.
I think they're gonna be here by this weekend. So I think we're gonna be hopefully able to have them. They're really cool. They're very, very limited in quantity. So keep that in mind.
Maybe.
But there's gonna be tons of stuff.
Don't get too excited. I don't know if we're gonna have that. I thought we weren't going to have them.
We might not. I don't know for sure. But
okay.
Things
Fingers
are looking
crossed.
like we might have them. But we're gonna have a ton of new designs that are hitting the store. So you definitely want to at least check it out. milehighermerch.com. And if you use the code's going to be mile higher. Keep it simple.
No, it should be like Black Friday.
What do you want to call it? Black Friday? Okay. Or no, it's not Black Friday though. Just call it turkey.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. What should we make the discount code?
Turkey motherfucker. Can we do Turkey MF? That's the code.
Turkey AF?
Turkey MF, as in turkey motherfucker.
All right, you heard it first. Promo code Turkey MF for 30% off the store. But anyways, I also wanted to quickly thank 2 new stellar patrons, which you guys are still killing it with the support on Patreon. We really appreciate it because it literally gives us so much freedom with the podcast. It's literally funded the entire podcast, all the equipment, the studio, construction, all that is because of you guys. So seriously, big thank you to all of you that are patrons out there.
Hopefully we'll be in the studio filming new episodes by 2019.
Yes, I mean at the latest for sure.
Yeah,
so,
it's been a series of delay after delay, but
yeah, you know how it goes. But yeah. We do really appreciate all of your guys' support. And this month we had 2 new stellar patrons, Sydney and Samantha. Thank you guys, seriously, so much. It really does help us out. And yeah, I mean, we talk about some controversial shit.
Controversial.
And yes, some of our episodes definitely do get demonetized. So
is it controversial or controversial?
Controversial? It's controversial, I think. I don't think it's.
Oh.
She's always critiquing my words.
No, I just want to make sure I was saying it right because I tend to just mash words into things that aren't actually words.
Well, I think it's controversial.
I don't even know.
Whatever, who cares? But today's
2 separate things.
It could be. But today's Patreon question comes from Brittany M, and she's got another great question. She said she loved the Origins episode, and her question is a follow-up to that episode. She said, if you had a choice between knowing why we are here or how are we here, which one would you choose? Why are we here? So our purpose essentially for being a human on planet Earth, or how did we get here essentially? What would you want to know?
Why?
Why?
Sure, yeah. I think so. Because that would answer most of my questions. I think most of my questions have to do with the purpose of things, not really how I got here.
Well, think about it too. If you knew why, you'd probably be able to figure out how. Too.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too.
So,
yeah. So,
yeah. Why we are here? What's our purpose? What are we supposed to be doing? Are we just supposed to be, getting up every day and, going through the same old routine for our entire life?
Is there a larger plan, a universal plan? Are we part of something bigger than ourselves? Those are the questions.
Is there a larger mission here that we don't know about, or some of us do?
And are we doing the right thing? Is what we're doing, how we live our life? Are we living how we're supposed to?
Yeah. If there is a plan, is there a predetermined plan and stuff?
Yeah. Who knows?
I mean, that's just
Those
a
are the
question you
questions I
can
wonder
literally
about.
ponder on for hours and hours and hours. Why? How? What's the purpose of this? But that's a great question. Thank you.
That is.
So
Thank
much.
you, Brittany. She's always good with questions.
So today's first woke news topic is
woke news. This is the woke news. We should have like a little song that comes on that's like dun dun dun.
Yeah,
woke news.
That's a good idea, actually.
Dude,
what do you guys think?
That is a good idea.
We could play like
sometimes
a little
they come
jingle,
to you right when
because we do. That's how we structure our podcast episodes. For those of you that are maybe tuning in for the first time or just joining us, is that we like to cover a couple. I like to cover a couple news stories that I like to say aren't covered by the lamestream media necessarily in depth or at all. So I like to kind of bring things to light, especially just things that are interesting about those two questions: why we're here and how.
Next podcast, let's get a little thing that says woke news.
Yeah, I'll work on that this week. That's a good idea. I like that. But the news that came out this past week or so is that the Pentagon, so for those of you that don't know what the Pentagon is, it's basically like where all of our military intelligence assets in the U.S. are held, where all the offices are and all of the, operations. It's highly, it's a very secretive place. It's highly classified. Nobody can, the public can't just stroll in and out of there. But anyway, they are a huge spender in our government, and the Department of Defense is housed there. And we're primarily talking about them, but basically they have never been audited as far as like how they're spending the money that the government's giving to them. And Congress has been trying to get this done for a long time because it's basically been bleeding money. Like we're talking like billions of dollars too. We're talking,
and this goes back into like 9/11 conspiracies too.
Yeah, it goes way back into the early 90s actually.
Because wasn't it like the day before that like Donald Rumsfeld admitted we were missing like something trillion from the budget?
Yeah, there's that famous quote by him. Yeah, there's a famous quote that's like, there's $1 trillion that is unaccounted for. And so a lot of people have been, including some of our representatives in Congress and things like that, have been like, yo, we're giving you a shitload of money, but yet there's little to no transparency as far as how that money's being spent. Obviously, we know how some of it is. Some of it's pretty obvious military spending, things like that.
Well, it was like 50% of the military budget that was missing specifically back then. Yeah,
so the actual statistic is that $21 trillion between 1998 and 2015 is unaccounted for from the Department of Defense's budget.
Yeah.
So that's
so crazy.
Do you know how much money that is? $21 trillion?
That's a lot.
Poof.
That is like, come on.
Where's that going?
Come on.
This is where it gets interesting. And this is a big piece of evidence for this idea that we are covering up aliens essentially. And this is
programs
that are exactly, that are interfacing or developing alien technology, things like exactly. Yeah. So that's the reason why this amount of money seems to be, maybe there's a possibility that they're using it for all these unacknowledged programs is the right word for it. Which
is when you should watch Unacknowledged on Netflix by Dr. Stephen Greer.
Yes, if you haven't watched that, it'll give you a good.
Seen it, like, watch it immediately.
Especially if you don't know a ton about like the UFO phenomenon, things like that, it'll really give you a good basis of like factual information of this. But they finally did their first audit of the Pentagon, and they basically confirmed all of these statements that have been made and rumors, I guess you could say, that there's obviously some top secret shit going on that we don't know about that $21 trillion has gone to.
That's crazy. That sounds like multiple programs. That sounds
if you think about that too,
entire military base that's secret, or not base, but like, what would it be? A branch?
It could be base. I mean, it could be bases. It could be weapons.
Like, how they're making a space force now. It's probably been a thing for a while.
Well, that's what I was going to get to, is that, and something that we'll cover more in depth on a podcast episode, is that a lot of people think, including myself, that there's a very good possibility that there's some type of secret space program that's existed in complete secrecy. You got NASA, which is kind of like the front for everything. But then there's this top secret military intelligence secret space program that would take billions of dollars to basically build out this technology. And, it goes as far as saying there's settlements on the moon, the Mars, other parts of our solar
the
system,
Mars,
maybe even within the Earth. I mean, there's so many different things with it, but this fact that they failed the audit and there's money missing definitely doesn't.
Money missing.
I mean, you know, skeptics out there would be like, "Oh, that's ridiculous."
That's a lot of money to just be missing.
That's a fuckload of money. We could fix our education system.
We could imagine what we could do with that attitude.
Solve homelessness. Like we could do so many
gosh,
things.
that's so wild. Like that's so much taxpayer money, and like we have the right to know. That's so crazy.
But that's the thing is they won't tell us, and obviously there's secret programs. I mean, I've heard rumors that they're going to start up MK Ultra type shit again.
I don't think they ever stopped it.
Well, yeah,
they never stopped. They just stopped making it like they hit it better.
Yeah,
but the programs ended. But yeah, and that is the realest thing. MK Ultra. A lot of people like think that's conspiracy, but it's not. It's very real.
It's confirmed.
Mm-hmm. There are so many survivors. You can type in MK Ultra survivor stories on YouTube, and there's like a bunch of videos of people's stories of what they went through, and it's so crazy. So yeah, a ton of this kind of stuff is going to there because they're keeping it quiet. It's going to all the programs that they can't have on the books.
Unacknowledged programs. Yeah, exactly.
The unacknowledged programs.
That's the only thing that makes sense, right? I mean, there's no other explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Where it just poof went away? Where did that money go?
Yeah.
We're taxpayers. We should fucking know where the money's going, but we don't know where the money's going.
Someone should at least know. Like, shouldn't the treasurer know or someone?
No, that's the thing is nobody at the Pentagon probably that we could even see whose name it is probably knows. It's probably some shadowy figures that know this shit. Like,
yeah, I mean,
how does that even work though? How are you not able to trace the money and figure out where it goes? Like that
because they'd never had it like.
It was never written down.
Yeah, it was never like obviously they don't keep good track of things that are supposed to be secret. Like, you know, you don't have a paper trail.
Right.
So that wasn't probably a lot of bookkeeping or like any. Mm-hmm. It was just like, you know, what do you need?
Kind of brushed under the rug. Oh,
like, here, let me dole you out a little bit. Let me dole you out a little bit. Yeah.
Trillions of dollars though. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
I know.
A lot.
But I mean, they can do it more like because there are so many people that they just say no. Like at a certain point, they're not going to. No matter what anyone says to them, they're not going to cooperate. They're not going to show you anything or like, you know, acknowledge these programs.
Right. And well, that leads back to like from a skeptic's perspective, a lot of people will say like, including really intelligent people that I know of would say people aren't able to keep secrets. And if there was something as big as like a secret space program or something crazy, then there would be like, it would have already been like brought forward to the public because they wouldn't be able to keep it secret. Which I'm like, I mean, I can see how that was because there's examples of where people like, but it could be different for this type of stuff. Like they literally are saying like, we will fucking kill you if you say a word to anything. And if you don't believe that, like there's like fucking agents out there that do this kind of shit, then time to wake up.
And to be at the point where you get told something like this, you're tested. So like you have to prove yourself for a long time.
Oh yeah.
They make sure you're not the type that would go do anything. And then once you're the type that even knows something like that, you also know what would be done to you if you said something.
Oh yeah. You know exactly what.
And it's on like we've talked about so many times a need to know basis. So like not as many people would know about it as you think. There could be people that know like bits and parts of it, or they like do something they're not allowed to tell people for their job, but they have no idea why they're doing it or like what's going on as a whole, but they have secret things they have to keep. So it's like, it's not as hard to keep a secret.
No, that's what people don't
think.
Because like it'd be stupid for them to like tell them that here's the grand plan of what we're trying to do and you're a part of it. They don't do that.
No.
They section you off and they're like, here's your job. You do this one job and that's it. That's all you fucking do.
And there's a lot of people that like, no matter how high up you go, you will always be underneath someone else.
Right. There's a chain of command.
You will not go up any higher than that.
Oh, dude, we've got to have Emery on the podcast.
Sure. Emery Smith.
Yeah, because he would be able to explain all this really well. And he has obviously experience with all of this. So
people probably don't know who he is, honestly.
Yeah, if you don't know who he is, definitely look him up. He's a good dude, and I think we'll be able to get him on the podcast next year. So
yeah, expect a lot of really cool guests on the podcast next year.
I mean, even if that's a fucking risk, because fuck. But
yeah. Oh shit. Is that dangerous?
No, I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about it's hard, man, because like if some of these people actually know the shit that they know, and there are these like insider leaker type people, you gotta be a little careful, you know, like gotta be a little bit. So, but
yeah, we'll talk about it.
We'll see. All right, next thing that I wanted to talk about too, some more great news for everybody out there. Billionaires made enough in 2017 to end poverty 7 times over. So I wanted to talk about this.
What the fuck? That's so sad. Can we just take a second to just process how sad that is to seriously be at this point?
Well, let's explain for those that didn't understand that at all. Basically, you've probably noticed that there is a great wealth divide happening in the world. And
an imbalance of wealth.
Imbalance of wealth and just no fairness as far as opportunity and things like that in a lot of ways. And what's happening is the rich are getting richer faster and they're gobbling up more real estate is what the word I'll use, but it's just money and cash in
Picture
general.
it like a scale. The like heavier they get, the more they get, the less, you know, the rest of us have.
Is a very,
and they just hold it. It just sits there. A lot of their money sits in banks.
They're very, very wealthy. They're very, very, you know, they're the elites of the world, essentially. And there was a new report that was published by a charity organization called Oxfam International. And they basically said that there are now 2,043 billionaires in the world, which means there was a new one created every 2 days last year.
That's so ridiculous.
Because I don't want to sit here and be like, I don't think everybody, you know, you should be able to, if you get rich, you should be able to be rich because you worked hard and you got rich. Like, I know that's the criticism that people give when people attack kind of this. But the problem is that does any one person need to have built literally enough money to end poverty 7 times over, you know, or 2,000 people on the planet?
It should be like a decision
have the power
for the greater
to end
good.
Everything.
To like make them have to do
it.
Can you imagine if they just force them? Like, it's not even that much.
But it's like, and just when you look at how, you know, people are taxed and things like that, it's just like, it's very unfair. And obviously there's tons of people that are just trying to get by and just try to like make ends meet. And I could go on and on about how fucked up the economy and everything and how that works and how unfair it is for people with lesser opportunity to get ahead. Like, it's just very hard.
Yeah.
And then the money stays with the rich and they keep getting richer and richer and expanding their empires, essentially. Like, the fact that Jeff Bezos is literally like the most powerful man in the world is crazy. Like, he's the richest man in the world and he's gonna end up being like he could be like our overlord one day, like Jeff Bezos. Oh God. just from the sheer amount of money and power and just influence he's gonna have.
Like any type time for him to do that.
But I thought this was interesting too. According to Swiss bank UBS's 5th annual billionaires report, billionaires across the globe increased their wealth by $1.4 trillion last year, an astonishing 20%, bringing their combined wealth to $8.9 trillion. So a lot of like economists and things like that believe that we might, and if things continue to go the way that they do and the rate of the wealthy getting wealthier continues, there could be a huge split, like where it's like the really rich elite people and then there's no middle and it's just people that are in poverty and barely getting by. And like, what kind of world is that? What does that look like?
It's a pyramid.
And what does it sound like? It sounds like, you know, the Illuminati conspiracy. It sounds like the elites are going to have enough power and wealth to literally shut us all down.
And like I've said it a million times, like on this podcast, the fact that we have a pyramid on our dollar is such a slap in the face.
Oh yeah.
Of like what's coming. It's insane to think about because it's clearly there for a reason, the pyramid. Why else would it be on the American dollar? It's because of the symbol of the wealthiest being at the top and the largest percentage being at the bottom and being poor.
And it just has to, I mean, it all goes back to
in Egypt.
The corporations are who run the world. You know, it's not anybody else but them. They literally have the power to influence anything in the world that they want.
It's wild.
And it's just getting bigger and bigger because 1 in 10 people survive on less than $2 a day.
It's crazy.
And yet there's 2,000 some billionaires.
God.
That's crazy.
If only people were generous enough to just share without like the government having to force them or something, you know?
Mm-hmm. And there's
they
500.
Could, like, link up. Like, there should be a billionaire club where they all, like, agree on a % they're going to give.
Yeah.
And, like, solve. They could literally solve world poverty.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Like, why wouldn't you want to be part of that?
I'm pretty sure Jeff Bezos could, like, on his own, like, end it.
Then why doesn't he do it?
Right. That's the thing is, like, what are these people doing with all this money? That's,
like, the best thing you could possibly do in
You'd
a
be
lifetime.
A hero.
Save the world.
You'd be a hero.
Oh,
You'd be like the greatest human of all time if you did that. Why don't anybody do that? Why don't the rich elite people do that? They don't help us. They don't want to help us. They want to continue creating this elite class. It's going to be like fucking medieval times. We're going to be like little peasants outside the castle working for the fucking king. That's like what we're headed towards.
Well, if we're even lucky enough to work for the king, because there'll probably be robots that'll work for the king.
Yeah, and then we'll just get wiped out or...
Yeah. Because they won't even need us. We won't even talk back. That's grim.
I don't know. But I'm hoping that we can fix this. That's my vote of confidence there, if that things will get better.
Maybe Jeff Bezos will, like, you know how, like, there's stories of people that get in, like, life-threatening accidents or, like, hit their head really hard and they're, like, nice all of a sudden. It's like the Grinch. Their heart grows by like 3 times, but it's, like, in their head and they, like, do something really nice. What if Jeff Bezos, like, gets in an accident and then he's just like, you know what? I could save the whole fucking world. Everyone.
Yeah.
I can't imagine having that type of power at my fingertips and not using it.
I mean, at least Bill Gates has, like, built a foundation and done a lot of good things. Stuff for sure.
There are a lot of rich people in the world who've done a lot of great things.
Absolutely. I just think that...
And wouldn't mind, though, giving.
But it's just like, I think the wealth distribution needs to be more fair. Like, people, like, minimum wage is way too low. Like, the problem is people's wages, and I think anybody out there listening would agree with me that our wages are, you know, not catching up to the inflation of, you know, the cost of living and, you know, taxes and things like that. So we, you know, people are increasingly feeling strapped for money and aren't able to really, like, start building, you know, a financial, you know, stronghold around them. So because they're just getting, you know, not a fair wage is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, CEOs get
way too much.
Way too much. Like, just
the pay system's way off. Yeah.
It is. It really is. Like, equal pay for equal work is the way I see it. Like,
everything's fucked. We should just blow everything up and start over. That's what I've learned from doing this podcast. I'm like,
let's start a
add to the list of fucked
coalition
up things.
To look for another home. Let's, like, interstellar this bitch and, like, let's get a little group together and
me and you
hit the wormhole in the middle of the solar system and see what else is out there.
That's a good idea. Can we bring the dogs?
Sure. They got spacesuits for dogs. But I just thought that was really interesting to bring up. And I don't think a lot of people really stop to think about how big the divide is between the rich and the poor.
And the power of the rich. And the power. To change that and not doing anything.
Well, look at all of them. They can buy anything they want. They can buy firefighters. They can literally buy a private firefighters to defend their home. That's what Kim Kardashian did.
Yeah. Yeah.
They saved their home because they had a private firefighter, like, department working for them.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
What else could they do? They can employ anything. They can employ an army.
But their house is like $20 million, right? So it's like worth it for them.
Yeah, it's more than that, I think.
If that shit burned down, they'd be fucked.
Yeah.
Well, probably not. They'd probably be fucking fine. Never mind.
Yeah, because, I mean, insurance should help.
She'd cry for a day and then it'd be over. But God, these fires have been so devastating. Like, major shout out to everyone in California, or people who have family in California. This has been so horrible. It's the worst fire, like, in history.
I just can't believe there's thousands unaccounted for.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
I saw it was over 600 and then it jumped up a ton today. It was like over 1,000.
That's insane. That means they just no one knows where they are.
The thing is they could be in their houses or somewhere, but their telephone lines aren't working, or they don't have, like, a way, so they have to wait outside for, like, first responders, or they're injured and stuck somewhere. But, like, yeah, the sad reality is, like, probably most of them didn't make it.
I know, it's just crazy. Did you see that there was a video on Twitter that was going viral of, I think Joe Rogan is one that posted that I saw, was a fire tornado take a horse Did you see that?
Oh my God. What is up with these? No, but what is a fire tornado? I
It's
didn't even
crazy.
know this existed, but
Yeah.
I saw a video and I was like, that looks like a fire tornado. I didn't know it was
Literally,
an actual thing.
yes. There can be fire tornadoes, dude. Like they're not huge, but they're like
That's
enough.
like hellish.
Yeah, they're strong enough to pick up a horse.
It picked up a horse?
Yep. Like
And
there's
Joe
a video
Rogan
of,
filmed
well, you
it?
don't really
Well,
see
he
the
didn't film
horse,
it.
but you see firefighters pulling on a rope or whatever that's connected to the horse, trying to pull it back away from it. But the tornado sucks it in and they have to like let go and run back because it's literally sucks the horse up into the tornado.
I cannot see that. I cannot see that.
I know. It's just crazy. I'm like, God. And then
That's like, oh my God, all the animals.
it's rough out there.
Yeah, dude. And a lot of people just had to leave. Like, it was so fast for so many people. They had to leave with like no notice. A lot of people didn't get notifications. There was delayed notifications. People couldn't get out of there.
Which there's
Could've
already
cost
like
people
conspiracies swirling around this thing too.
Speaking of animals,
We got the
she
Sergeant
wants to be
Booch
in
over
my
here.
lap. Me and her have matching sweatshirts today.
Oh my God. She's got like a little blue sweater on that says Adidas Paws or something.
A D dog. It's like some off-brand shit.
Yeah.
Not real.
All right. Before we get into the main topic for today, the Big Pharma, we want to thank Care of for supporting our podcasts.
Hell yeah.
Care of is a new sponsor for us, and we really like their product, actually.
Yeah, we do. We took them with us.
They're
on
a
our
personalized custom vitamin delivery subscription, basically. But they basically allow you to take an online quiz which asks you about your diet, health goals, lifestyle choices, and it takes like 5 minutes to do, and then it matches you up with what vitamins and supplements you specifically need. So natural things that your body needs based upon your custom situation. And your vitamins are delivered right to your door in a personalized, easy to remember daily pack, which is perfect for on-the-go people.
Oh, there it is. Whip it out.
So
it just
that's
says
it.
Hi Josh on it too.
Yeah, they put your name
I
on
love
it.
that.
It says it's got a fact. The Library of Congress is the largest library in the world, 164 million items.
So I actually take like a ton of vitamins. I've always taken a lot of vitamins, and it's such a cool service. Like, it not only like does it give you kind of like recommendations of what you can have, you can just set it up to be exactly what you want, and it's just convenient rather than having to like
Put
your little thing in a pill pack like 7 days. I always forget, and then I don't take my vitamins. This makes it fast,
really
and
fast,
easy, and convenient.
And what's really cool is that a portion of every sale goes towards the Good Plus Foundation, which provides expectant mothers in need with valuable prenatal vitamins.
So awesome.
So that is a great cause of support. They got a cool app that lets you like track your progress and everything, which also gives you rewards. The monthly subscription box can be easily modified at any time, and they have vegan and vegetarian supplement options as well. So definitely check it out, guys. You get 25% off your first month of personalized Care of vitamins. Visit takecareof.com and enter promo code MileHigher.
Oh yeah.
That way you get 25% off your first month of personalized Care of vitamins when you go to takecareof.com/MileHigher.
Nice.
Definitely check them out. All right, let's get into the Big Pharma conspiracy.
Why are you talking like that? Like it's a serial killer or something?
Well, the conspiracy is that they're literally trying to kill us. So
yeah, so it's dark as shit.
yeah, it's kind of concerning. Mm-hmm. But first, we want to talk about the shitty healthcare system that we just had a recent experience with. That was
awful,
terrible. Just really surprisingly.
Well, I
terrible.
told you guys I would talk about kind of what I've been going through this year for those of you who like I haven't explained it on here at all in full. So I figured I should just take the time. I always have my sound on my computer and I get like email alerts. It's from like Bath and Body Works. Hang on. So basically, a little rough history here. I was diagnosed with PCOS when I was like 15. And then when I was 17, I got diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease, which is an autoimmune disease where your thyroid starts attacking itself. So if you've ever noticed, my thyroid kind of sticks out. And a lot of people have hypothyroid or Hashimoto's. And so I always had like symptoms of being tired and being like, ever since Josh has known me, because I was already diagnosed with it when I met you. I was already taking medication and stuff. And the symptoms were really not too bad at first. You know, like I got on like thyroid medication and I didn't have any of this pain stuff. I just had kind of getting tired. I would get like, I had a weak immune system. things like that. And then over time, I started thinking that I had something called Cushing syndrome, which is so complicated. I barely understand it. So I apologize if I say anything wrong. But my mother had it, and she first started having symptoms when she was like early 20s.
Right. Yeah.
And she was
same
told,
time basically.
Yeah.
As you.
Yeah. And so it was this last year. I started doing tests for Cushing syndrome like, what was it, 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And they thought I didn't have it, but they said if you do have it, which basically if you have this, it means you have a adenoma on your pituitary gland, pineal gland.
Could be in your lungs, your adrenal,
lungs,
your adrenals. I mean, it can be a lot of places, yeah.
And it's causing overproduction of cortisol, or there's
hormonal type things, imbalances, things like that.
Very confusing. So I did a scan for it, and they were like, well, it's possible that it's too small because for some people it doesn't show up until they're older. So he was like, check back in a few years. And then fast forward to now, 2018 starts, and I'm like really struggling, like noticeably. And it was crazy because at this time when I started feeling sick, we were working out like 3 days a week. We were like so active. And I was like, it was kind of like thriving. It was when we first moved in the house, I was feeling great. And then it just like hit me. I started getting so tired every day.
It was like right around the beginning of this year.
Right around Christmas time.
Yeah, right after Christmas. It just seemed like
it was right before Christmas
even. I don't know what happened, but it just like took a huge downhill like fall. Like it was just
my grandma moved in with us, and then there was one night where she had a heart attack in her house during the night, and it was like really stressful. And then after that I got like I started feeling really tired all the time, and I had enhanced anxiety, and just she lived with us for a month, and it was really stressful. So I kind of blamed it on that, but then it didn't go away. And then I guess actually before this, like 2 years ago, I started having joint pain in my elbow, and I thought it was like that selfie arm thing. Not that I take that many selfies, but there's like a thing called selfie arm for just millennials holding their phones
at first you're going to be like, any of us out there have been like, oh, my hand kind of hurts, my wrist kind of hurts.
This is my fault.
And I'm using my computer too much or my phone too much. Because you totally get like cramps in your fingers. And
mine, I would get it like and I'd get it during editing because I would be using my trackpad and moving my fingers around. And then it went into my wrist and my fingers. My shoulder got really bad. And then basically now it's my whole upper body. And then on bad days, it's even in my legs at this point, in my hips. So it's just slowly gotten worse. It's like joint pain. So it's not, I don't believe it's fibromyalgia, even though I've had a doctor try to tell me that's what it is. But the type of pain I have is like really specific pain, like in a specific vertebrae, or it's so weird. I have so many other symptoms. I have like suddenly got high blood pressure. I have like adult acne and sweating and, what else? The fatigue.
Yeah, there's weight gain, fatigue, there's stretch marks, there's depression, anxiety.
Yep.
Which it's you just get slammed with all these horrible symptoms.
Hormonal shit, yeah.
You feel like shit. You feel like you have no energy. It's literally like being bedridden, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because of how bad everything is collectively together.
I kind of describe myself like I feel like a flower, and I bloom for a little bit, but then I get tired and I wilt, and I like have a couple days where I'm just like barely getting out of bed.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I started thinking, this can't be just my thyroid. Like it's all of a sudden just happening. My thyroid levels are normal. So I started getting tested for this because my mom actually did get diagnosed with it. They found a tumor in her adrenal glands and they took it out, and she's been living her best life. And she has all the same symptoms as me. Mm-hmm. So basically we're with Kaiser.
Kaiser Permanente. Oh God, don't even get me started.
I'm not saying that everyone at Kaiser's bad too, because there's good. It's a huge network. There's
I went to Kaiser all the throughout my whole childhood, and I had a great pediatric doctor there. So yeah, not everybody there at Kaiser sucks, but I think their system is just not the right system for
serious health
people
problems.
that have serious health problems that need to get or that are undiagnosed and need to get found and dealt with. So yeah, so we have had Kaiser, and to make a long story short, we basically have met with an endocrinologist there a few months ago. Or
we met with her in like
was April. It early, like way earlier this year,
or even March.
And there's only like 3 endocrinologists for Kaiser, or 2 maybe in all of Colorado, so you don't have a lot of options, and you can't really just go to any other doctor. So
no, you can't, and they're always hard to get in to see. And so like my appointments would be all spaced out, and then I'd have to do these like urine tests where I'd have to pee in a jug for 24 hours and save it in our fridge. So that was fun. But it basically tests how much cortisol is in your urine. But what I've learned is I actually met a subscriber, shout out Stephanie, if you're listening. She has helped me a ton with this whole thing. She got diagnosed with Cushing syndrome, and they found I hope she doesn't mind me talking about this, but they found a tumor in her brain, and she's having it taken out. And she had all of her cortisol levels, almost all of them were lower than mine. And so basically, every time mine comes back, the first time it came back, it was 3 times higher than normal. So she made me do it again, and it came back a little under normal. And your cortisol can change every day. And it's like a home test, so it's not that accurate. And I mean, basically, when we talked to her on the phone this last time, we were trying to get...
Well, just explain this doctor for a second. She's like...
Yeah, sorry if I'm rushing. It gives me so much anxiety talking
Yeah,
about
no,
I
know.
Running out of breath. I get like so anxious.
Sorry, I can pick up the story here. Okay. I've been a part of this too.
Yeah, Josh has become like a huge advocate for me.
Yeah, because I mean,
very thankful.
Man, you expect for like basic decency. And basically this doctor is like a super nerd. Like, I mean, I don't even know how.
She's very smart.
She just acts like she's very smart.
But has no like personal skill. Like has
no
compassion
interpersonal communication
or
skills
bedside
at all.
manner, you can call it. Yeah.
No, she's very like...
No sympathy.
Yeah, no, none. Mm-hmm. So we had the meeting with her back in April, and we were both kind of like off-putted by her and just like, she's not great, not at all. So we're like, all right, we'll give her a chance. We give her all this info. We give her mom's medical records.
My mom came in.
Mom came in with you, like
my mom got diagnosed at the Mayo Clinic, actually.
Yeah, she had to go to the Mayo Clinic.
Yeah, hospital in the country.
So many people. This is true fact. So many people end up having to leave their, primary care doctors within their network and go out of network and stuff to the Mayo Clinic to get.
Yeah.
Because like the Mayo Clinic, I don't know if there's any medical people out there that know this.
What's up?
But like the Mayo Clinic knows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is highly regarded, very reputable. Yeah. As one of the best medical care providers. Yeah, that's basically
what they told my mom is like, we can't figure it out. You need to go somewhere better than here.
Yeah.
And it took her like 30 years. Like she has so many problems from all the years that people told her that this was in her head, that she's just lazy or, some other bullshit like that. Or they told her she had Lyme disease, fibromyalgia, like you name it. They said she had it at one point. And she never had any of these things. Yeah. She had this the whole time. And like now that she had her adrenal gland completely removed and she's now on cortisol for the rest of her life, but she is so much better. Like,
but yeah, she can function at a normal level, like activity wise and everything else.
Oh yeah, she's like never stops now. I'm amazed by how much energy she had. She napped so much when I was a kid. She was always in bed. Like so many of my memories of her, she was almost always in her bed when I came home from school, almost every day. Napping. And she was exhausted. Like now that I'm going through it, I get it, because it's so taxing on you physically to have an autoimmune disease, first of all, and then probably something else on top of it. Like, I don't know how I've been getting through, like, honestly.
Well, that's the thing too, is like, I don't understand, like the way that this doctor is too is very by the book and it's very about like her interpretation of what she learned in college, basically. And because every doctor's like, I have my own way of doing things, I mean, not all, but some do. And she's one of those doctors that thinks that she knows best, basically. But was refused and not open-minded to anything else we brought into the conversation. She just like literally discount us or, tell us that, well, my take on it is different. So therefore we're going with my take, basically.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even entertain at all.
No. Well, we didn't even explain. Like, we found out that a lot of patients with Cushing syndrome do not have high cortisol. It does not come back high. Yeah. And I read this on the Mayo Clinic website. So, like, they're not lying.
No, on multiple websites. This isn't just Mayo. Like, look at any other reputable one. They say that every single diagnosed case is the cortisol levels being high.
And so Stephanie, my friend, told me that she finally had a doctor test her ATCH, which I don't even know what the fuck that is. It's like a hormone or something, right? And they tested her for that. That's how they found her tumor. And now she's getting it out. And it's not like if I do have it, like a lot of these surgeries can be done through your nose. And it's not
Yeah, it's like not a big deal at all. It's not like
and it could change my life. Like,
totally.
So She basically admitted to us that there's a good possibility I could have one of these tumors, but even if I do,
was like, we can't do anything.
Yeah, she was like, we wouldn't be able to take it out because it may not help.
It's not guaranteed fix, basically. So we don't want to try.
Kaiser won't pay for that. Kaiser won't cover that.
Yeah. Unnecessary surgery is what she said.
So they won't give me a scan. I was like shocked that they wouldn't give me a scan. And then I asked, well, can you at least test my ATCH levels? We can like
ACTH, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm probably screwing it up. But I was like, can we test whatever hormone?
Yeah.
And she said no. I couldn't believe it. I was like shocked. I started crying. Josh had to take over. I almost cussed her out.
Yeah, it was just like one of the worst conversations with a person ever in general. And
I've had my blood drawn so many times. She's never tested for this hormone. That
tells us they're on our side and they're going to help us and everything. Literally refusing to help us. And
I was crying and saying,
at first she was saying that like making this thing up to you personally, like that Kaiser wasn't going to pay for this, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I honestly think Kaiser probably would fucking pay for this.
Yeah.
And she's just telling you that because
that's why we need to get on the phone with them.
Ultimately, I literally asked her flat out, I'm like, so you're basically stopping all of Kendall's treatment at this point and just saying she's fine, it's something else.
And just discrediting her mom.
And discrediting, all of this evidence, overwhelming evidence.
Glandular issues run like back in my family for years too. So.
And yet the thing that's just blows my fucking mind about this whole thing is the fucking fact this doctor knows. Kendall's had like 3 blood tests and not once did this doctor think, maybe I should test her ACTH levels because that could indicate that there's.
They have taken vials of my blood, vials and vials and vials, and they never tested this shit. I was so mad. And then when she said like she wouldn't even test me, like I seriously had to say, please,
begging. She literally said, you're like, I'm literally begging you to test me for this ACTH.
Yeah. When meanwhile we pay for the best level of care at Kaiser. For me, Josh has like the most basic one because you didn't even go to the doctor here, you know. But we knew like, you know, I have all these problems, and this is the year we should tackle it. We should get all this.
Yeah, we thought we were going to get a good experience and good service.
We've hit our deductible, so I thought we were going to get.
We've paid thousands of dollars to Kaiser already, and we've got nothing to show for it.
It makes me so mad that I could go one of 2 ways with it. Is how I was telling my mom, like I could get really mad and get like depressed and angry and like just go in a dark place, or I could just be, you know, hopeful that I'm young still and like I'm not going to go through this for 50 years like my mom did, or 30 years. Sorry, it's like makes me cry because it's like I just can't believe she went through that for so long, and that's my biggest fear is like going through that forever, you know, and having a doctor tell you you're fine. Like I can't even tell you how many times this woman has called me with test results, like going back to like May and saying, starting out with like, good news. Yeah, you're fine.
Terrible.
It makes me like want to punch someone. Seriously.
That's not good news. That is fucking disappointing news. That is another day that you don't know what the fuck is going on with you. And that's ridiculous.
She's so obnoxious. I couldn't even believe it.
It was just a crazy. I wish we had recorded it because it was pretty weird and like, I don't know. It would have been interesting to see what you guys thought of it. But
I know we should have fucking
recorded it because it was pretty wild, and you know we want to like let people know that this happened and shouldn't happen. Like we should hold our fucking healthcare providers to higher standards. You know, we pay a lot of money. Like
it's crazy how much we pay. And then like I was tweeting about it, and I had people from all over the world like commenting on it and saying like, "Oh my God, America's that bad."
Yeah, it's bad. Well,
we have like the worst healthcare.
This is a great segue story to what I was going to talk about first, and that is literally the U.S. ranks last among 11 countries, which include the UK, which was ranked best. We are last. We are the richest nation, but we have the shittiest healthcare.
And we have shitty schools and shitty prisons.
Yeah, and all of this. This is literally what I was saying.
Because all our money goes towards military, pretty much.
The trillions of dollars goes to
and
DOD.
It's missing. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And fuck if they got alien technology. Why the fuck aren't you releasing that to everybody? Because what the fuck, man? This is the thing, guys. Like, fuck, they could literally be holding us back from a whole. We could be so much like 50 years farther into the future right now, or more maybe. Shit's being blocked, and it's just shitty healthcare in the U.S. And like, you know, a lot of people say like, oh, all the independent healthcare providers compete, and they have to lower the prices and better service, but that's not the case, man. They're not like that because it's just so fucking crazy that we're the richest nation, and we pay probably the most out of anybody for healthcare alone.
Yeah,
and it's just
we do
garbage,
actually.
man. It's like I mean, I don't know if any of you have had good experiences with healthcare providers, but I'd love to know which ones are the good ones. Because fuck, it's like hard to know.
People say Blue Shield's pretty good, I've heard.
Yeah, I don't even know. So we're on, basically she told us to get a second opinion.
And I said, we're going to leave Kaiser. You're going to lose 2 people Kaiser because of you. And we're going to report that to, whoever when we leave.
I told this bitch. Sorry. I have some animosity towards this woman.
Well, you know what? She's put us through fucking hell. It's been a really shitty year, and she hasn't even given us she hasn't even said once, I'm sorry you're going through that.
Not one bit of
my main doctor even, I cry at the doctors all the time. And I started crying in front of him, and he was at least got me a tissue and waited until I was done to continue speaking and just said I'm sorry. That's all it would take.
Basic human emotion.
She doesn't even look up from her computer. She's
no.
Oh, it makes me so mad. Sorry, Josh and I could get really pissed about this.
No, that's why I wish I recorded it, because it'd probably be kind of funny to hear back, but it would piss me off again. But yeah, it was just a shitty experience. And I basically was like, I told her that I was going to contact the director of endocrinology. I don't even know if they have a director of endocrinology.
Yeah, she got really nervous after.
But I was like, I want to talk to basically your superior, because all doctors have a boss too.
Yeah.
There's a chief of something over there, as we've learned from Grey's Anatomy. But
chief, who's the chief now?
Yeah, who's the chief at that?
There's a chief every season now. A new chief. It was Bailey, then it was the redhead doctor.
Oh, that fucking show
I had to stop watching it after season 13 or something. I couldn't do it anymore.
But this is interesting though. I know there's other people in the U.S. that have had shitty experiences with our healthcare. I know that's this is not an unusual story by any means.
This is just so another common example.
Yeah,
that's what I've learned by talking about this online is there are so many of you that are Kendall, I sympathize with you and I'm going through the same thing or worse things, people who have cancer or their parents are dying of cancer and they can't get them certain care. I had someone tell me that their father was getting a head scan at Kaiser. And they crushed his head in the fucking machine.
Dude, what the?
He lived. He's okay.
There's some janky ass shit.
But he's not, because he has cancer and he's dying. And he could have even passed by now. But what the fuck?
Yeah. God.
It's just and then they didn't even do anything for him. They didn't they should have sued.
I just think that basically we came to the conclusion that we don't want to be with Kaiser anymore because we don't want to go see doctors that are beholden to the healthcare insurance provider.
They work for the insurance company.
It doesn't work.
Once you think about it, you're oh, okay. Because it does make it affordable if you're a family that doesn't have any health problems. If we had just had 2 kids and I didn't have any problems.
It's great for me. It's cheap. My healthcare is relatively cheap.
It's very convenient. All the doctors communicate. I don't think Kaiser's necessarily bad.
No.
It's not right for everyone. It's definitely not right for people with severe health problems.
Yeah, or need really
specialized
you need some
care.
people to really dig in and dig a bit deeper than it seems that they do.
I couldn't believe it. I'm so you're just gonna let me keep living my life like this?
That's
I was I cannot go through this, and I was I can't even get through.
Basically, well, fuck off. Go get another opinion then.
Yeah, I can't believe she said that. You gave up on me after
I was worst thing though was
endocrinology for 3 years.
I know we're gonna get another healthcare provider to go back to the one that initially
we're not going to give up. This is a setback, but we're not going to give up. We're just going to start over.
Yeah,
at least we have some test results to work with now.
But Jesus, man, it's terrible, and this is not uncommon in the U.S. This is again, like I said, just another story of literally new ones that pop up every day.
To all of you out there struggling with health problems in the healthcare system, you're not alone. There's many of us.
Now I want to look at. I know nothing about the UK health system at all. I know nothing about it.
Move. I would move to Canada, Australia, or the UK. No problem.
Dude, I know. I would. Too.
If I didn't love my family, I would move. For sure.
Canada would be easy because then we could still come home.
Yeah, Canada would be easy.
Yeah, Canada's Vancouver or something
We're gonna go next year. My manager lives out there, so we want to go visit.
Yeah, but I'm curious to see, I'm sure a lot of you will let us know in comments and things like that your experience is much different than ours. And I wonder what countries you're from, because the rest of those countries that are ahead of us in healthcare quality and standards, Germany, Netherlands, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, France, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, all have better healthcare systems.
Doesn't surprise me. They have better everything. They have better priorities. That's what's really going on.
We have the lowest life expectancy, too, out of those.
Welcome to America.
Highest infant mortality rate still? How does that happen?
Infant mortality?
Yeah. Still the highest.
Well, that could be something to do with the amount of drug use and alcohol use we have.
Yeah, I was going to say for sure.
Because that doesn't really make sense, but that would explain it.
Did you know that medical errors are the third leading killer in the U.S. after heart disease and cancer?
Medical errors?
Medical errors.
Fuck. The third
leading killer in the U.S.
Oh, God, that's
heart disease and cancer are the first two.
That's so scary.
And it accounts for 10% of all American deaths, or 250,000 deaths every year. Jeez. Medical errors.
Yeah. Damn.
And this is because 50% of doctors still use fucking paper, guys. If you've never noticed that, some doctors are still using like pen and paper out there.
That's wild.
Yeah, isn't it? I didn't even think that was I'm like, I can't believe that's a thing.
Yeah.
Why? This is costing lives because people are fucking up their paper records.
Yeah.
And people are dying.
That's ridiculous. It's insane.
Sorry, I'm laughing, but that's just so fucked. Like, oh my God.
So how many doctors' offices have do some of them have completely converted to computers?
Yes, some are 100% electronic, like with iPads and shit.
Yeah, because when I went to the doctors a little bit ago, they couldn't even get something over email. They had to have me drop it off so they could.
Kaiser still uses a lot of paper records,
and they just have huge
and the doctors just sign into the little computers to for your visit. But
Kaiser doesn't even have a way you can email your doctor or call your doctor directly. They don't have a phone number directly to them.
It's because there's way too less. There's not enough doctors basically. Yeah. There's 50 patients
way too
per
less.
Doctor.
Yeah.
I wonder how many patients your endocrinologist probably had. A lot. She probably was you're at the bottom of the list because she didn't think you had anything wrong with you.
They basically want to wait until it's bad. I think she wanted to say wait until that tumor grows a little more and then maybe you can get some help.
Once we see it peeking through.
I couldn't believe she was
God.
I emailed her back when she first told me I couldn't get the scan, she was like, you can't get the scan because if you do, you might have a brain tumor.
Which,
and you might want to get it out.
I have a brain tumor?
Yeah, and then she was and you might want to get it out, and Kaiser may not pay for it, and it may not help you anyway.
I can't believe she told you this.
She seriously said, and you might want to get it out. I was like,
what does that mean?
I wrote her back and I said, with all due respect, it's my decision to know if I have a brain tumor, first of all, and then my decision to take it out or not after a doctor has given me information. I was so disgusted. My experience was so bad, it was insane, but a lot of people go through similar stuff, man. It's really sad because what I'm confused about is if you're going to be a doctor, doesn't that mean you want to help people? And so many doctors do. So what's up with the doctors that are just so cold-hearted? Why don't you go work in research or something?
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, she should be a research and development type person. She should be a behind the scenes person, not a customer facing person.
Yeah, jeez. I feel like you should learn some bedside manner to be able to graduate because it's really disappointing how some people are.
Because come on, a lot of the pain with any medical condition is, coming from your doctor. They have to tell you shit that is could be potentially life altering.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal. You should have to be able to communicate and have some basic
you have to have people skills,
connection and decency. And some doctors just don't. They just fucking don't. They're there for the fun or the money or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But part of the fact I just talked about, the 50% of doctors use paper. Another huge problem to this too is that like with you, how many doctors have you seen in your lifetime so far?
Oh my gosh. I've just in the past couple of years, I've had 5 or 6 insurance. And if we do another one, it could be 7.
Part of the problem is everybody's bouncing around from doctor to doctor. 19 is just the average.
Okay. That makes sense.
So that means there's people that do far more and far, a little bit less.
I saw the same doctor for my whole life until I was 18. And then every year
That's great.
I've seen a different doctor.
I don't think many people out there can be I've seen one doctor my whole life.
Well, not one my whole life, but since I was
or a
5.
pediatric to one adult doctor.
Yeah, but then they kicked my ass out and told me to get someone else.
Do you believe this?
What?
Do you believe this? Do you think medical providers do better financially when they make mistakes in patient care because they get paid again to fix the problem?
No, I don't think any doctor in their right mind would purposely make a mistake because if you killed someone, you're gonna get sued. Why would you?
They would make a calculated risk and be like, fuck that. That's too.
I don't believe that.
Okay.
What? Like, I don't think they would be like, oh, I'm going to
You don't think they would like purposely?
Yeah, let me leave a sponge in there so that they have to come back and get it out and they can pay me again. Chances are, like,
I'm sure it's happened. I'm sure it's happened, though. I bet it's happened.
I don't know, man. That's crazy. Like, to risk your medical license, then you're fucked. Like, for what? Just so they come back and have one more surgery?
But it could even be something minor, too. It doesn't have to be something, like, complete. Like, just coming back, like, kind of maybe, like, slightly fucking up. And, like, they have to
so,
come
like,
back
putting
in.
a cream on them that's going to give you a rash.
So, like, let's say you had minor surgery and...
tonsils. What could happen?
They weren't sure if it was going to work the first time. If it didn't work, then...
they didn't cut them all out.
You could come back. The doctor could come back and just have the insurance provider pay again. They can do a redo, basically.
And you wouldn't have to pay for it. I don't know. I think that's a bit out there.
Yeah, I think it could be a bit out there. Do you think there's enough disease prevention out there? Like, what do you know about diseases, or what ones you're most susceptible for?
I don't know that much about diseases, honestly. It kind of creeps me out.
Does too. It gives me anxiety too when I start thinking about all the diseases I could develop.
Don't tell me. I don't want to know.
God.
Spare them too.
Am I the only one that does that? Oh my God. Yeah, so let's talk about the opioid addiction crisis, because this is one of the big fucking things that's just mind-blowing, honestly, that the magnitude of this thing has just gotten like out of control. I've
completely lost 4 family members because of, like, direct family members because of opioids. Not lost them, but like lost them in my life. They're alive, but
it's like everywhere. I think almost everybody out there now can be like, I know somebody that struggled with opioids or is addicted to opioids, like, or
like something worse, like heroin or something.
Yeah, well, that's opioids, so anything.
And I know it gets, but I mean, it's different.
Because, like,
it's the same, but
the whole thing is
a whole nother level.
Like with heroin, like you just said, is they start out. It could start out just like a lot of people start out just from one prescription or a couple prescriptions from surgery or something, and then they're on it. That's all you need, like, to get addicted. And then once you get addicted to it, you have to obviously get more and more. But eventually, most people, it gets too expensive to just do, buy prescription, because once you can't get a prescription, then you're really like in a tough spot. So
yeah, that makes sense.
But eventually, like, a lot of people turn to heroin because it's cheaper and are just maybe more readily available than,
Yeah, it is.
Black market prescription pills out there.
It is, and you can take less of it and get a bigger effect. That's why a lot of people end up on it.
Yeah, and then it's just crazy. Like, I can't even imagine being addicted to either of those things, and I can only imagine the battle it is with those drugs.
Yeah, and then you're at the point where you're not even enjoying it anymore. You're not, like, enjoying your experience on heroin or whatever. You're like, you're sick. You're taking it so that you can, like, get through your day, or else you're puking and shaking and sweating. It's horrible. I've seen people go through withdrawals. It's awful.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, opioids bind to receptors in the brain and spinal cord, which disrupts pain signals. And they also obviously activate the reward areas of the brain with the release of dopamine.
Are we going to talk about that dude that, like, said it was all good?
What?
I'm just going to talk about it. We watched this documentary, and there was this commercial from like the 70s or something of this guy talking about how opioids are safe and non-addictive. And it was a national TV commercial.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about that.
Are we going to talk? So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me, because, like, what the hell?
We're going to talk about specifically, like, how did this even start? Where did it come from?
How did it get this bad?
How did we get to this point where it's this huge epidemic? Just last year, there was 72,000 overdose deaths in the United States alone.
That's wild.
And nearly 50,000 was where an opioid was involved. And now, more than 130 people die every day from opioid-related drug overdoses. Jeez. And the number of opioid prescriptions dispensed by doctors has steadily increased from 112 million prescriptions in 1992 to now a peak of 282 million in 2012. And this is old data, so it's probably far more than that now. But they've started to come back down a bit, but now there's just more and more different synthetic drugs that are hitting the market too, with fentanyl. And now I just heard there's another one that's like fucking 100 times more than fentanyl or morphine. It's crazy. Like, now there's these synthetic opioids being developed which are being used as like anesthetic for surgery, but they also alleviate severe pain associated with like terminal illnesses like cancer and other things.
Mac Miller had taken that fentanyl.
Yeah, so fentanyl is 100 actually fentanyl is the one that's 100 times more powerful than morphine.
Yeah.
It's just a small dose of that is deadly, could be deadly for you. But I wanted to talk about some of the opioid stuff as it relates to oh God, I just blanked. As it relates to how, the crisis actually got started here.
Yeah.
This is pretty interesting stuff. So how did, obviously morphine is like, I think the first opioid that we really used. And that was during the Civil War. So 1861 to 1865, they would use morphine as a battlefield anesthetic.
Which, I mean, good.
Which is fucking crazy. I can't.
There's places when you need it, for sure.
Yeah.
God, I can't believe there was a time where soldiers didn't have that kind of thing.
Right?
That's so crazy to me.
Yeah, so it started with that, and then in 1898, heroin is first produced commercially by the Bayer Company.
Bayer?
Yeah.
Like
Bayer aspirin.
Oh my gosh. Like they
first produced heroin.
Great. Thank you, Bayer.
And at that time, 1898, heroin was believed to be less habit-forming than morphine. So it was dispensed to individuals who were addicted to morphine.
Oh.
So they created it, essentially. And then in 1914, Congress passed the Harrison Narcotics Act, which required that doctors write prescriptions for narcotic drugs like opioids and cocaine. So that's when the prescription started. And then heroin was banned in 1924. And then in 1970 is when all the Controlled Substance Act, when that became law, and they created all the different schedules for drugs, which we talked about in the Hemp podcast. But they basically put heroin as a Schedule I drug, while morphine and fentanyl and methadone were Schedule II. And then Vicodin, hydrocodone was Schedule III originally until they raised it. But so that just kind of gives you a little bit of a background of how things progressed, because we're going to be talking about how literally the prescription companies are getting paid to are just making mass amounts of money.
Sick amounts of money.
Yeah. And then let's see. I wanted to bring up in 2007, the federal government brings criminal charges against Purdue Pharma for misleadingly advertising OxyContin as safer and less addictive than other opioids.
That's so wild. Imagine how many addictions that created.
Mm-hmm.
That's so crazy to me.
And the company and 3 executives were charged with misleading and defrauding physicians and consumers, and they pled guilty, agreeing to pay a $634.5 million in criminal and civil fines. And the 3 executives got criminal misdemeanor charges. So there's actual evidence of the pharmaceutical companies creating drugs, essentially.
The amount of money that goes into it is insane, too.
And false advertising.
Yeah. It's crazy how much they spend on the advertising versus how much they're spending on like actually creating the medications. Mm-hmm. Like the majority of their money goes towards advertising.
Check this out. In May 2015, the DEA announced that it had arrested 280 people, including 22 doctors and pharmacists, after a 15-month sting operation centered on healthcare providers who dispense large amounts of opioids.
Interesting.
The sting was called Operation Polluted. It's the largest prescription drug bust in the history of the DEA. So they busted like a ring of them, basically, that were prescribing huge amounts of opioids.
And then getting it.
And obviously they were getting paid too. Like, basically like a drug dealer. Like, So do you think doctors profit from prescribing drugs?
No shit.
Do you believe that the more opioids doctors prescribe, then they make more money because of that?
Yes, of course. And they work with certain ones. Have you ever been to the doctor and they're like, oh, have a sample of this?
Yeah.
I was getting NuvaRing samples. They're always like handing out NuvaRings like candy at my gynecologist.
They basically like agree to be like an affiliate. Like,
yeah, they're like an affiliate and an influencer. It's like pretty much the same. Because like, why? Have you ever wondered like let's say you have allergies or something, and there's multiple types of medications you could be on for it. Have you ever wondered why they suggest something specific? Like, obviously, it could be to like avoid a medication interaction or an allergy or like something like that. But why are they favoring some over others? Is it possible they have a relationship with that brand?
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
100%. That's what's going on. In 2014 and 2015, opioid manufacturers paid hundreds of doctors across the country six-figure sums, hundreds of thousands of dollars for speaking, consulting, and other services. Thousands of other doctors were paid over $25,000 during that time. So basically, the more popular of the doctor that you are, and the more following that the doctor has, potentially, it's literally like influencers. Like they get paid. Do you think
doctors have like Instagram accounts now? They're trying to be famous.
Oh yeah, dude. I think
in any profession, there's like police officers doing it. Everybody must be doctors. I know like plastic surgeons and stuff do it.
Surgeons for sure. Yeah. Your Dr. Youngblood could have a Twitter.
Well, now teachers do, principals do. Like,
yeah, my mom's on it. Twitter and like like what?
She's like in administration and she like had to make a Twitter this year.
Yeah. Because like the social media platforms have now traversed into the business world and, you know, the rest of the social media world. So yeah, they're trying to, the more following that you have, you get paid more. The more recognition you have, the higher caliber of education, things like that. Like you can get six-figure sums for like talking at events about the prescriptions and things like that. So
yeah, you're like a rep or like an athlete, like sponsor.
And it's all it's quantity based too. Like how much of that particular drug you sell determines your payout too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's really crazy. So
how many patients you have on it. I wonder if there's anything that's set up that like a patient, you get a percentage of their thing every month that they fill it. Like the longer they're on it. Like I wonder if it's like that.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine? Is that
like
legal?
How many prescriptions did you write this week?
Is that legal? That? Like, do you think they like really
legal.
say like, okay, so I sent 85 to Paxil or whatever.
I think it's
150
legal.
per person. I mean, what was it? That fucking website even recently. I mean, it's not medical necessarily, but like, it's a good example. BetterHelp, right?
Yeah.
The counseling app.
Yeah.
That they contacted us and they straight up told us, hey, refer this to your depressed fans and make $200
we'll pay you $200.
I was like,
fan. What?
And this is before they had all this controversy, and we were like, fuck no, goodbye. We didn't even respond.
I just thought it was a scam. I was like, this is scammy.
I didn't know it was. I've asked my cousin about it because she's like actually in counseling, and she's like, I just don't see how you can replace an actual counselor. Like maybe an addition, but like see the idea here, but it's the same type of thing. Every influencer that gets someone to like feel like they need something, or they tell them like, this will help you. This is going to help you. Just like a doctor would with the medication, they get $200 or something.
Yeah.
That's three people. That's $600.
The fact that the payout's really big is like crazy.
Insane. And there's a reason it's like that on an app like BetterHelp. Yep. There's a lot of money in this medical world. That technically is part of the medical world. So, because I've never had a referral program offer that. Normally it's like $5.
It's crazy. It's like 5%, 10%. Like,
I was like, this is so weird. Like something's really weird about this. So,
and it did end up being really weird.
Yeah, scammy as fuck. But anyway, that's an example.
But another real problem that I see, and as far as I know, this is only a problem in the U.S. and New Zealand, but let me know otherwise, that over-the-counter drugs, or the fact that we allow prescription drugs to be advertised on TV, as well as over-the-counter. But we're one of two countries that can actually show those ads on TV. And how many of you are so annoyed when the prescription ads come on? Like you instantly want to mute it or like fucking turn off the TV.
Everyone gives me shit because so like when I was a kid, my parents always had TV on. Like it was always on in our house. Like,
opposite for me, no TV.
And it bothers me. Silence bothers me. I always like background noise, even if it's just commercials. I know it's so fucked up. It drives them insane. It drives everyone insane. Like I admit it, but it comforts me. It makes me feel like other people are in the room or something. Normally I don't even pay attention to what's on there, but I watch the morning shows and stuff like that. And I know all of the prescription drug songs. Like every time they come on, like, oh yeah, God, which one was it? me and my cousin were singing it for so long, like the go your own way.
Oh my
God.
God.
Go your own way. What medication is that for? It's like Triceba or something.
Yeah.
I don't even know. There's so many, and they all have songs, and then the fucking beautiful stock scenes. Footage. Like,
oh my God,
it's always people that you're like, God, their life looks fucking together. Like, I get on that medication, and then I'm gonna be like at the fair with my husband and like kissing, holding an ice cream cone. It's always like the most ridiculous stuff. Like
they have so much money to advertise and get that much airtime.
It's a lot. Like they're like 2 minutes long sometimes.
In every commercial break, it seems there's one prescription commercial.
And they're so long to buy that big.
They're like 2 minutes.
Yeah, and just the production quality is so much better than a lot of. It looks even like Geico or something.
Yeah,
it's like crazy movie quality filming for most of them.
Stunning cinematics usually, like and just like. Scenes of nature and peacefulness. It's always
while they're reading off, you might die from this.
Yeah, they're like, we have no idea how this will affect you.
This is going to give you diarrhea, acne, and possibly death. Enjoy.
Yeah, and according to my research, we're one of 2 countries that even allows this.
That's so crazy.
Again, Canada, UK, Ireland,
none of them
Australia. You know, it's a lot better for them. They don't have to listen to shit.
So it's us and New Zealand, and even New Zealand.
Yeah, and New Zealand, I think, is trying to like. Get that they're like finally like realizing like this is stupid.
But they banned CBD.
But then there will just be more over the counter ads probably because they still have that like for aspirin and you know, Advil, Tylenol.
Yeah, which I mean whatever like
Pepto-Bismol.
That kind of stuff. I mean sometimes you need that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's always a natural alternative.
Well, that's the thing I wanted to mention too. Like, I don't want to make it seem like I hate the pharmaceuticals. Like,
no, I'm on medications. I have to be on.
Like, I fully understand.
Well, not die, but be very
sick. Many of these medications are absolutely necessary. And really do help us. It's not all evil.
No, not all of them. It's a lot of the ones that are mental, like SSRIs and like medicines for depression, anxiety, like those kind of things are addictive.
And obviously, like opioids or anything that you can get addicted to should be like monitored and.
But not all medications are bad.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Some really fucking help. Like, dude, if I didn't have fucking Claritin, I'd be like,
but
all the
some
time.
prescription medicines aren't bad either.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to a subscriber. I told her we were going to do the pharmacy episode, and she was like, I'm a pharmacist. So she was messaging me with some interesting stuff. I should check my Twitter and remember what she said. But
I hope to one day, let us know what you think. But I hope one day we can like get an expert for all these different things, and we can actually like talk back and forth about this stuff with a pharmacist.
Yeah. No, she was telling me, she's like, it's a total conspiracy. She was like, the saddest thing is that all the medications that are like harmful for people, like opioids, like, you know, things that mess with your brain and
things
stuff
that if you had too much of, you could really get fucked up from them.
Or could give you something else or could cause another illness. All of those are normally more affordable for people and insurance covers them. And then she's like, and then I'll have like old people come in for like their insulin or something, or like
and it's something
they really need, or you know, what's it called? Those shots, those allergy shots went up in price recently. The bee sting ones,
the EpiPens.
Yeah, the EpiPens.
That fucking.
Which I'm allergic to bees, but I don't have to like have the pin. Like I have like I just get like itchy and puffy. But like some people need that pen, and it went up in price, and a lot of people can't afford it. But like for example, I used to get. The drug name is alprazolam. It's Xanax for flight anxiety. And it would always be my cheapest prescription anytime I picked it up before flights or something.
It's like $3.
Yeah, no, seriously. It's crazy. Those ones are the cheapest. And then the stuff that people really need and absolutely need to survive on, they take advantage of that. Because like if it's more of a medication where you could choose to be on it, it's not life-threatening, then they make it more affordable. But if it's something that you need or you will die, they jack the prices up.
Yeah, I mean that seems like the trend. Like,
yeah, maybe not in all cases, but a lot of cases.
Is that on purpose? Are they doing that on purpose, or is that just by chance they decided to do that? Because that's gonna cause a lot of people to not be able to afford their drugs, and that's a reality too, is like a lot of people can't even afford their treatment. They can't afford the prescription drugs themselves and even the generics even, which I'm like, what's the deal with generics? Like, why is there like name brand prescription drugs and generic?
I don't really know.
Like,
but I had a
aren't they
doctor
made
tell
in
me,
the
like,
same fucking place, or is there literally like generic factories and there's like name brand factories? Like,
I don't know, but
what's the deal with that shit?
When it comes to thyroid medication, I was on the I started out with the name brand, which I think is I'm gonna get all confused. It's either Synthroid's the name brand or levothyroxine is the one or the other is the name brand one. And I started on the name brand one, and then after being on it for a while and still having problems, I had a doctor tell me, like, you should switch
to generic.
No, I was on the generic. I did name brand, then switched to generic. And he told me to go back to
the name brands don't work.
He said, no, the generic didn't work. He said that it wasn't going to work as well. And I was like really skeptical because I was like, isn't this the same medication though? Like it should be the same thing.
Again, what's the difference between generic and
I don't know,
name
but
brand?
He told me to switch. And then after a year, I didn't see a difference and I was paying extra. So I just switched back to generic.
And they always default to generic because
that's so weird. I've never even really thought about that.
Generic. Yeah, because that's super interesting. Oh, here we go. So generic drugs are copies. Yeah, okay. They have exactly the same dosage, intended use, effects, side effects, It's basically just a copycat.
Yeah.
So there should be no difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the existing thing. They work in the same way. Yeah, so there's no... So what a fucking... Is it really that ridiculous? It's the same idea as like going to the grocery store getting generic brand versus like
that's what
Heinz
I was seriously
ketchup,
just thinking about that. Like, is it just for people like,
so
and what's the difference between Heinz ketchup and like off brand?
But that doesn't make any fucking sense because if they're giving everybody the generics, then how the fuck are the name brands still in business?
I don't know. None of it makes sense. That's why there's a conspiracy when shit doesn't add up.
Yeah, there's some questions there for sure. We need to
and not to mention the amount of I just want to point out really quickly the amount of politicians on both sides. Like it's about even on both sides, Republicans and Democrats that get huge donations from Big Pharma. You can type in, there's a website, I think it's called opensecret.com. I'm pretty sure .org or something. But if you type in like Open Secret, Big Pharma donations, politicians or something like that, it'll come up and it'll have like a little chart. And it's like so many people. And so, yeah, definitely something to keep in mind when voting for someone. Just going to say that.
God. Did you know that the Big Pharma often lets their executives name their products? And that they changed all the names for prescription drugs are supposed to be 3 or 4 letter acronyms and things like that. Like very simple.
But they're like methotrexamine.
They try to make it like catchy though. Don't you think? Like some of the names are like Triceba. Like they keep it simple though. As opposed to like medications that have been around a long time, you know, like acetaminophen or whatever.
Acetaminophen?
Acetaminophen. I don't know how to say that fucking word. But you know what I'm talking about. The Advil or Tylenol. The actual real name for it.
I want to find for people that don't have these commercials in their country what they sound like. So I'm trying to find like a little compilation or something.
Don't curse all of our ears with that shit.
I won't play anything long, but it's actually so crazy. Like if you've never seen a drug commercial, you definitely need to see one. Hang on.
So they came up with, so they often go for new names that are 3 or 4 words long, allowing them to form a catchy acronym. So like erectile dysfunction or ED. Yeah. See how nice and easy that is? Like if you have ED
or MS.
Like they create those little acronyms. This is also something that happens with Big Pharma, and that is the practice of ghostwriting, which involves pharmaceutical companies paying off doctors to slap their names on some very positive review or commentary, which is basically a little more than an advertisement for the product and then attempt to slip it into medical journals. Can you believe that? Basically like putting a stamp on it, being like, this is approved, this is good shit, and getting it into medical journals and stuff so that it can start being advertised.
That's so crazy. Dude, I can.
There's definitely a lot of issues and these aren't just like shit I'm making up.
All right, here's this.
Oh no, what is this? Oh no.
What America sees every day. Prescription drug abuse is on the rise, is what it says.
Abilify. 5 hits with Advair. Crestor. Cymbalta.
See?
Humira. Intermezzo.
Levemir FlexPen.
Lyrica. ADHD. It's my depression. COPD.
But your erectile dysfunction?
Bad cholesterol.
Depression. Moderate to severe plaque psoriasis.
Oh, God, it's already killing me.
High blood sugar in adults and children with diabetes.
Fibromyalgia. Chronic widespread pain.
Lyrica.
For everyone.
They're all one.
Crestor is not for everyone.
Not work for everyone.
Not for everyone. Ask your dermatologist.
Call your doctor.
This shit ain't for everybody.
Dude, come on now. You don't see the trend here?
That's between you and your doctor.
Talk to your doctor.
They all use that like soothing voice.
Ask your doctor.
Ask your doctor.
Call your doctor right away. If you have nausea, dry mouth, and constipation, dizziness or fainting may occur upon
That
standing.
voice, like comforting you.
Cause symptoms such as sweating, shakiness, confusion, and headache.
Changes in mood, behavior, or thoughts, decreased appetite, trouble sleeping,
5 a.m.
dry mouth, diarrhea, and nausea.
Muscle
You might
pain
die.
or weakness, as they may be a side
Check this
serious
out, though.
side effects.
I don't know if
Some
this is
risk of
100% true.
dependency. Driving, eating,
But-
You're not enjoying this?
I am enjoying it.
Awake without remembering the event the next day.
Intermezzo
Common side effects are dizziness,
Lyrica.
sleepiness, weaking, and sweat.
and death.
Have you
So
guys
yeah,
ever
that's
heard
just a
those?
taste. That's a minute long. There's 6 minutes more of that.
Oh yeah, it goes on and on and on forever.
Yep.
But there is some people that used to be like pharmaceutical reps that said that oftentimes when a prescription drug first gets approved for market and becomes available for doctors to prescribe, that only 50% of the side effects have been uncovered. So there's 50% that they still don't know
Yeah.
how it would react. 'Cause,
That's
like,
why they
you're
just say
creating
a bunch
new
of
drug.
shit
Yeah,
that could happen,
right.
hoping they cover all bases.
Covers
They're
all the
like, it could be
bases.
this,
Yeah.
this, or this. We're not really sure.
But if you die, it's a side effect.
And it's
so-
not on us.
right.
you
By
know.
disclosing that, you know, when you took this drug.
Yeah,
that-
you bought it. Make sure you talk to your doctor about it, even though they won't tell you that. I feel like I learn more about drugs from the prescription commercials than I do from my doctor, though. I have been put on drugs, many different drugs in my life because I
yeah,
have all
and your
types of
doctors
health
never
problems.
explain.
No,
Which is
I had
crazy.
one doctor that had me on medication for my anxiety and depression. And then I found out after 3 years of being on it,
that it was like working against you.
it was
right?
working against me. It was causing weight gain. It was causing sleep issues. It was causing so many things. And then it was like working against it. And it didn't even help anxiety. It's not a medication used to treat anxiety. So my anxiety was raging. My depression was kind of fixed. But like I wasn't getting it. And I was like, why? And they kept upping the dose, dude. I had a different doctor, then up the dose. It took me going to an actual psychiatrist who understood the medication to be like, this is not what you should be on, dude. So now I'm trying to slowly wean off it because I've been on it for so long that now like just taking it out, I could like start getting really depressed again. Like it sucks. The world of medications is just like so complicated and
There's
so
just
messy.
too many. There's too much like smoke in the air. Like we can't see
Smoke
through
in
it
the
to
air.
see the full picture here. Like it's just too smoky. So we need to clear the smoke so that we can see actually what's going on. Right?
Clear the smoke. Hashtag.
Sorry, that probably is a weird
Yeah, that was
thing.
a weird.
In my head, it
thing to
made
say.
sense, but
Clear the smoke. Clear the smoke, and then you can read.
did you know
symptoms.
this? Every prescription drug company has a monopoly on every non-generic drug they produce.
Dang. Monopoly. That's crazy. How's that even legal?
Yep.
That'd be not legal in any other industry but this. See, no, they don't play by the rules. And that's the biggest problem in the country is there's so many people just not playing by the rules and not playing fair. And that's how we're ending up fucked in every corner of America.
Everybody's out for themselves.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's crazy. So yeah, that's making prices way higher than they need to be.
God.
So in some countries, the same drug can cost 100 times what it does in a different place.
That is so bizarre.
Like the prices are just, there's no regulation on the prices at all.
I know.
So they can literally jack it up as high as they want.
God, and when we say the best healthcare in the world, or America's the worst healthcare in the world, we're talking about for developed countries. Because obviously, like, there's countries without healthcare at all, or without hospitals and care. So, like, you do have to think about that. And, like, imagine what it'd be like to have these things and not have a pharmacy or a doctor to, like, nothing. You have a huge tumor, better hope it doesn't kill you. As it grows.
That's what they used to tell you back then. Yeah, absolutely.
No, not back then. Right fucking now. there are people all over the world.
Yeah.
If you watch those types of things, remember we watched that thing on Korea? All those people were blind. Like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people were blind. It was an easy fix. It was really quick LASIK.
Yeah. Now I know. Yep.
Yeah, and they came in and they did like hundreds of them in a day. These Americans came in and did it.
Crazy,
but
man.
They don't have access to basic things. So I don't want to sound like not aware of our privilege as Americans, even though it could be a lot better. We do have it better than so many people in the world that don't even have access to basic healthcare or water, let alone fucking healthcare.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we got nothing really to complain about at the end of the day.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we were being clear that we're not saying America is the worst of all the countries.
We're pointing out some issues
we're the worst
with that
of the developed.
so that everybody knows what the issues are and we can try to make it better. We're trying to make it better is what we're trying to do. It should be more fair and better and more transparent for sure. So the last part of this episode is going to be talking about the actual conspiracy itself around Big Pharma, because it's pretty interesting and I think you'll want to hear what that's all about. But before we do, I want to thank Robinhood for their continued support of our show. Robinhood, if you don't know, is an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos all commission free, which is very nice. If you've never even thought about the stock market, which I think a lot of you probably haven't thought about it, but if you're interested at all at just seeing what it's all about and even learning how it works a little bit, because the stock market's a big deal. It controls the economy. It controls so many different things. So it's important for us to be knowledgeable about the economy and what's going on. And Robinhood is a great app to start doing that on, because what's great about them is they strive to make financial services work for everyone and not just wealthy people. So this is like for anybody out there that wants to just try it out and see what the stock market's all about and teach you along the way a bit. It's got a simple, intuitive, clear design with data represented in an easy digest way, which that's my biggest thing with it is the design and ease of use is amazing. It's very millennial friendly, I think is a good description, but it's just a lot of color, a lot of different descriptions, and it really walks you through things, and really easy to use graphics and things like that and charts, and it really just teaches you how to do it, and it also just makes it really easy for you to view different types of stocks, and it gives you ratings and things, analyst ratings for it, and all that sort of thing. So if you're interested in this at all, Robinhood is actually giving you guys a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help build your portfolio. Yes, a free stock. All you got to do is go sign up at milehigher.robinhood.com.
That's sick.
Yeah, you get a free stock. This is no joke when you create an account.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I think that's awesome. And it lets you, awesome. And you can actually trade and do transactions for free, which is a huge thing. Like I've done a little bit with the stock market in the past, and you have to pay a fee for the transaction and things like that on top of the trade you're already doing. So that's really cool. And all you got to do is go to milehigher.robinhood.com to sign up and get that free stock. That's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
All right. Big Pharma conspiracy theories. So let me explain what the conspiracy is. It's a couple different things. So Big Pharma conspiracy theories involve, a shadowy, gigantic cabal of drug companies that control everything we do related to health, right? And many conspiracy theorists come from the viewpoint of the relationship between Big Pharma and the government, right?
Yeah.
And some of these theories even go as far out to say that it could be all related to possibly chemtrails, water fluoridation, which we want to cover both of those in the future, as mind control substances in order to sort of, this is going way out there, prepare us for, this impending new world order that is taking over the world.
Oh, shit.
In this reality I'm explaining.
Mm-hmm. It could be true.
Could be true. So the situation is that either we are being used to, or they are being used to intentionally keep us sick. So the government, cabal, new world order, whatever. So Big Pharma can rake in the dough by causing our illnesses and then selling us, the cure for that ailment. Is that part of the master plan? Also, according to a number of natural health proponents, as well as theorists, that pharmaceutical companies are inventing new diseases just to sell drugs for them, which in result suppresses natural cures for real diseases, bribe doctors to prescribe drugs, And do they go as far as like eliminating people that are interrupting their game, you know?
Yeah.
Do the pharmaceutical companies go as far as doing that, like taking out,
eliminating,
you know, naturopath and holistic doctors and things like that?
I believe that.
There
and
is
I
some
they've been
examples
doing
of
that
it. Yeah.
forever. There's examples going back to the 1600s, like them. I mean, the witch trials alone, they were basically afraid of like holistic healers and natural medicine and stuff.
Mm-hmm. This is interesting though. So part of like this whole pharmaceutical big pharma is also like a lot of these organizations and associations such as the American Medical Association, which are all, you know, also big entities. And actually, I didn't know this, but the American Medical Association is largely funded by the Rockefellers.
Oh, wow. Damn.
So like we've talked about,
not surprising.
The Rockefellers could be involved with this New World Order per se. And if they were,
I'm sure they are.
If they were, then they would use something such as the American Medical Association in order to influence their research and decision making. Yeah, the American Medical Association has been accepting money from the Rockefeller and Carnegie foundations from as early as 1910. An author by the name of G. Edward Griffin, who wrote In the World Without Cancer, makes the argument that the Rockefeller and Carnegie foundations began to support the American Medical Association in an effort to control the medical schooling establishment and to gain power over this large and vital sphere of American life. Right? Because I think we even talked about this, how literally the education system was started that way. Mm-hmm. And why wouldn't they want to also influence health? You know, why wouldn't they want to get their, you know, ability to set that system up the way they want to? They have to
be in control of everything. I mean, the more the better. I think they kind of have their hands in like every pot, at least every big pot.
And that's what a lot of, you know, quote unquote conspiracy theorists think is like, there's a possibility like, that there could, if there is this conspiracy of the New World Order and this elite group.
I hate conspiracy theorists because it's also just like people who are smart.
No, it's just also
there's
asking
so much
questions,
evidence.
Right. It's just asking questions.
I mean, God, like after we went through the 5 families thing, like people it literally spelled out how these people are still involved in fucking everything. Like if you haven't heard those podcasts.
Yeah, the 5 bloodlines.
It convinced me. I mean, I believe in an Illuminati or whatever you want to call it way more than I did before because now I understand the depth of it and the wide spread of these people and how they have their hands, like I said, in all the pots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's really not surprising. And there's been some controversial stuff with the American Medical Association. I don't have the details of that for sure, but I know that they definitely are like against like marijuana and things like that.
Yeah,
like they don't like that the natural things at all.
Which we did a whole podcast on hemp and marijuana. If you want to know more about that.
So what do you think about
one too? Eventually,
yeah,
I'm sure we'll get a guest on that.
There'll be updates because there's already updates for that. But what do you think about the fact that Big Pharma may invent diseases just to sell cures for them?
It's really interesting, and I definitely don't not believe it. In fact, I think I lean more towards believing that it's possible.
Or what about rebrands things?
What do you mean? Like
changes the name and changes it to make it sound different.
Like it's polio, but like that new thing
in a different
similar
form.
To polio?
Yeah, like kind of just
this year they had a new disease that
so they can sell new drugs for it. Do you think they go that far?
Well, I mean, I think they could, but I haven't seen any proof to believe that. That's the problem. But I wouldn't be shocked if that thing is, that kind of thing is true. And then there's the whole just cure for cancer debate. That's a whole nother thing that we definitely have to look more into because it's definitely something I could see them doing. I don't think it's out of the question. It would make sense. And I know that they've done more fucked up things. So it wouldn't really shock me. But what's the evidence? I don't know enough about it to fully speak on that yet. Because I mean that's a big thing to say.
Well, what do you think about here's some examples that people say are this, the drug company basically creating a cure for something that didn't exist prior.
Okay.
Restless legs is now a thing.
Okay.
That wasn't before, and now they're starting to come out with drugs for restless legs.
Yeah, well, because Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
or like
a
low
lot of
testosterone.
people...
They just came up with that in order to then make low testosterone drugs.
What? No, they made it for people that actually have low testosterone. Wait, I'm confused.
Trick question.
Like, wait, I'm so confused.
Question.
People had restless legs. It was more research.
This is just an example of somebody
performed things and made a medication. Like, you have restless legs and you could probably benefit from that fucking medication, honestly. But I don't think they just like create it and then people are like, oh, okay. I have that.
Okay.
I don't think it's like a chicken or the egg situation, which came first, the illness or the drug for it.
Right.
I'm guessing the illness probably, right?
So as of right now, this is like kind of just not really like fully true.
Yeah, I'd say.
Debunked, maybe.
I mean, well, there's not enough information to make a decision.
Right.
Because it's possible there are all kinds of fuckery going on with this kind of stuff. But like, how much do we actually know about? How many, like, that's what people have to remember here is we only have what we know to work with. There's a lot of things that's held secret that we don't know that like it kind of all comes together and like based on all the other shit they're doing, it's possible they could be doing this.
Yeah.
But like, you know, where are you going to draw the line? Like how much proof do you need to believe in something? So right. I kind of fall in the middle of like, I don't not believe in it, but I don't like commit to it to the point where I completely believe it.
What about this angle though? Like what if some of these drugs have actually been proven to either have no effect or actually become harmful for you or is harmful for you? Because we've seen that happen before. What do you think about in that case? Like, obviously they're creating, they created this drug. Like, did they know that it was not going to do anything or be harmful?
So like, for example, people who like mothers who took something and then their babies ended up fucked up or something.
Yeah. Or just, yeah.
Or they took it and ended up with a type of cancer because of it or something like it caused something else later on.
Right.
Did they know in advance?
Did they know in advance and
Probably
just were like, fuck
not,
it?
Because why? You get sued for so much money, it's way more than you're going to make.
But they
I just don't see why they would do that.
Spend the time to do the adequate research, it seems.
Yes.
To really
Are they
find
at fault
out
for it? Yes. Yeah. But did they do it with malice?
Yeah.
Probably not. Because like, why would you purposely fuck up and want to get sued and deal with that? You know how many lawsuits you'd have to deal with, dude? If they somehow found out that they knew about it, then they're really fucked. So I don't think they would purposely do that. I do think that they are reckless, that they don't research enough, and they put out things onto the market without having done nearly enough research on it. But I think it's more just, recklessness or I don't know the word I'm trying to think of right now. Just basically mistakes versus purposefully trying to cause someone an illness later on.
Yeah. I think it's just sloppy work and like not enough time to fully vet out the drug that they've created. I think it's probably coming to market too soon, but I think they have enough like proof to be able to pass the FDA regulations.
It's not going to be perfect though. That's the thing is like,
no,
it's hard.
How are they ever going to get it perfect?
Medicine. We're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
100 years ago, people were... Shit was so messy. Like everyone was sharing shit, disease everywhere. Like 200 years ago, it's even worse. Like they were like just straight up being like, "Here, bite this rag while we saw your leg off."
Yeah.
Yeah. So medicine's come a long way, and there's always gonna be mistakes. Like that's how they learn.
Right.
So
trial and error.
But like how long? Because then it limits other drugs. Like you can have the conversation because there's all these people that need certain medications, and they've been waiting for it to come to market for like 10 plus years, and it's going through so much testing, then it won't come out. It seems like the shitty ones come out quickly, and then the ones people actually need take forever. So it's kind of like do we make it longer process to make sure it's even more controlled?
Right. All right. What do you do in this?
I don't know.
All
I know is the money needs to come out of it. It shouldn't be anything that's advertised to you, period. If you have a problem, you should seek out a doctor, and the doctor should recommend something for you to have.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't advertisements barely give you any information about it either. So it's not even like some people just go and like want to try that drug based upon they like
or
the
ones that say might even help you lose weight.
Yeah, or something like that.
Like, oh, and people are like, ooh, I'm gonna
ask your doctor.
Yeah, and then people come in and they're like self-diagnosed, or they're like become hypochondriacs and just like start thinking they have something because they've like, oh, I have that symptom and that symptom and that symptom. Like, I have this. Go start a medication.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like endless fuckery. We could sit here and talk about it all day.
You can poke holes everywhere for sure. Okay, here's kind of the big kahuna to this whole thing.
The big kahuna.
God, I don't know why I just said that.
I like that. Kahuna. Doesn't that mean like ball sack or something?
I don't even know.
Like when you got big cojones.
Oh God, it does. Oh, jeez.
Here's the big ball coming right at you.
Yeah, I don't know why I said that, but are natural cures being suppressed, such as natural cures out there that may exist, may not, but there are some that believe there are basically cures for the following illnesses, including cancer, herpes, arthritis, AIDS, acid reflux disease, various phobias, depression, obesity, diabetes, multiple sclerosis, lupus, chronic fatigue syndrome, attention deficit disorder, muscular dystrophy, and that these are all being, the cures for these are being deliberately hidden and suppressed by the Food and Drug Administration.
You know, there's a lot of evidence that some of these medications make them worse too. Like I got put on medication when I was like 5. I was put on like Ritalin, which is really, really intense. It's like pretty much like meth. I mean, it was some serious shit. I was like a kindergartner on it. It was kind of crazy. But like they obviously don't give that out to kids as much anymore, but it was like right when ADD was really starting to get diagnosed all the time, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But there's all these studies that actually has made people worse and it has made your attention skills worse. That like it makes basically you start building an immunity to it, and it make like when you're off of it, you perform even worse than you would if you never had it to begin with. And that's why I stopped taking medication for ADHD like a year ago, but I've taken it like pretty much my whole life. And I think it definitely can contribute to things like brain fog. And so I don't know. It's really interesting to think about that too.
Definitely. But would they actually, if there was a natural cure for it out there and they knew what it was and it cured all of these things, would they be able to just suppress it and keep it secret from us on purpose, knowing that they have the cure in order to make money, I guess, potentially keep people sick, keep people having to come back for more?
I think there's, I mean, all of those, maybe some of them. I don't know, though. I don't know. I mean, I think there's definitely, I need to learn more about it to even like really speak on it. Like I said, I need to, you know, I've heard people that I trust saying they believe it. So, but like, I need to know for myself. So I really can't, that one's just so dark that I haven't even gotten myself to like look into that whole
I mean, it's
area
just
yet.
fucked.
It is.
It's
fucked really fucked to think about.
The, you know, the end of the world.
But I've heard like so many people that like, you know, came up with cures and then were
Well,
killed.
that's the thing is like throughout history, there's been a lot, obviously a ton of people are like, how do we cure cancer, right? How do we do it? And there's a lot of people that have actually come up with an all natural, you know, medicines and, you know, different types of, you know, blends of herbs and things like that that had cancer fighting properties throughout history. And some of these individuals, you know, including holistic doctors that have kind of been, I don't know how to say it, but, you know, kind of going the alternative route as opposed to like what Big Pharma does and kind of thinking outside the box and, you know, looking at all these natural medicines that exist and trying to formulate something that could potentially be more powerful than, you know, any sort of cancer treatment or anything. So,
Yeah.
And some of these individuals have ended up dead even or mysteriously disappeared. Like there's all sorts of weird things that have happened
It's
over
obviously
time.
happening then. I mean, it's crazy because like it's the same thing with the like people who were trying to create like water fueled cars were taken out. It's the same type of thing. Like this isn't all just happening by accident, coincidence. It happens in like every area. There's people that get taken out for stuff. I mean,
it's similar to the
made up.
It's similar, like the way that I was explaining it to her was, it's similar to Nikola Tesla and his wireless free energy system and this idea of there's limitless energy out there that we can tap into. But anytime someone creates technology that can do like tap into this and
the water thing
too, they end up, the technology gets taken, they end up dead sometimes. Like it's obviously on purpose. Like, I mean, this is not just it's not all random. Like a lot of people are like, oh, it's just they randomly died and it's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
No.
In every case?
Oh my God.
But it's also hard to think about.
Topic.
I mean, it's also hard to think about too, like how would they be able to do this, you know, potentially? Because a lot of people would be like, you'd have to have a lot of people in on this in order to keep this quiet. But when you think about it, it's the same type of thing as with the military and the Department of Defense and how they're able to make tons of money disappear. They clearly have there's tons of people that know a lot of fucking shit that we don't even know who they are. We had no.
Yeah. And they show things like, here, check out this video of JFK. Look what happened to him or anyone else, you know, like they tell you what will happen to you if you get to that point, you know, and people aren't going to talk, you know?
You're right. Yeah. You're not going to talk.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to bring up though is that we talk a lot about like cannabis and hemp and how they could be like a great alternative to many prescriptions, many even over the counter stuff, if more research was done into it.
Yes, check out
it wasn't
Weed
illegal.
the People, the movie. Check it out. It's cool.
Yeah, and check out the cannabis episode. But
no, Weed the People is a movie. There's not episodes. Something different than you even talking.
No, I'm talking about our episode.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Okay, I was confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our episode on it too. Yeah. But for medical stuff, that movie's really interesting if you want to know like how they're using it to like cure cancer and stuff for these children.
And once cannabis gets like federally legalized, it's going to create millions of jobs and millions of new revenue. It's going to like boost the economy majorly, and it's going to create a ton of jobs.
Yeah.
But people are worried that how do we stop the pharmaceutical companies and all of their wealth and power from taking over the marijuana industry? That's a big concern.
Probably will.
And what will stop them from basically creating some type of synthetic, which one company already did?
Yeah, and like making it way cheaper.
Insys has gained FDA approval for a synthetic cannabis derivative.
Jeez.
And they spent $500,000 fighting against the legalization of marijuana already. So they're fighting for like natural marijuana to not be legalized so that they can then swoop in and create this synthetic that's FDA approved that they can sell, like do prescriptions for. That's a cannabis derivative, but is probably far worse for you than anything natural would be. And I mean, it does help people. Don't get me wrong. It does help people, but should they be allowed to take this natural medicine and then turn it into a synthetic and have control over the whole marijuana industry? Like that would be horrible. That'd be horrible for all of us if the pharmaceuticals took it over, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, I believe that like, that marijuana, they probably knew far more about marijuana before they ever illegalized it, made it illegal. I think there's a whole conspiracy with that, truly. And because like, come on, like basic research shows that it's got medicinal benefits. It's got so many things that can really improve.
I hate when people are ignorant
lives.
about it. I just like can't even deal with it. It's like, dude, read a book. There's so much evidence. I shouldn't even have to like defend this.
Yeah.
There's so much proof of how cannabis is like life changing. I like barely get sick as far as like getting a flu or like something. I haven't like been diagnosed with it by a doctor for something like that in years. And I think a lot of that's because I use cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Before I used it, I was like constantly getting the flu and strep, and I haven't had anything like that in so long, or the stomach flu. I'll get like little viruses, but like nothing like serious, or pneumonia. Like I haven't had anything like that in like 4 years.
That's amazing. I mean, I don't get sick at all, ever. Knock on wood. Like I'm blessed to be super healthy.
But we both used to get the flu. There were some times where we had the flu together. We were in bed.
Definitely got sick a lot more.
Yeah,
back
we got
then,
sick. Yeah,
I haven't gotten sick like that in a long
years.
time.
Ever since we started smoking. Stuff, seriously. There's a lot of proof of it too.
Yeah, there's tons of proof that it actually
cannabinoids
fights cancer too. Like
yeah,
it's got
it does.
A lot of cancer.
That's why I was telling people to watch
properties.
Weed the People, because it's specifically about that.
So I think that there's definitely probably, whether there's this huge conspiracy and they're literally like trying to harm us in order to then make us better to harm us again. I don't know for sure. I can't say for sure yes or no. But I do think there's definitely powers that be that are fighting against marijuana and fighting to keep a lot of these other natural substances, looking at psilocybin mushrooms and getting into other types of illegal substances that are out there that have tons of healing and mental healing and spiritual things that could really improve all of our lives, improve society's lives if they were researched and, brought forward in a safe way. And I think it could solve a lot of problems, don't you? Like, I think a lot of these substances could. Yeah. And so the fact that those pharmaceuticals are constantly trying to keep those illegal, but because while allowing them to create synthetics and create fake ones and like continue just controlling that whole aspect of our health lives. It's crazy.
It is.
It's absolutely crazy. And I mean, I just want to end this by saying that because like obviously a lot of people have looked at this big pharma conspiracy and a lot of people think this is completely debunked based upon the fact that, how many thousands of people would be necessary in order for big pharma to suppress a cure for cancer, especially. Like that's the big one that a lot of people are like, there's no way that could happen. So an actual professor from the University of Oxford actually estimated that at least 714,000 people at 8 different pharmaceutical companies would be required to pull that off.
That doesn't really make sense, though.
Which he's calculating this. I don't know how, but doesn't include employees at smaller companies, academic scientists, the FDA, or health journalists.
I don't know. I mean, it is definitely one of those things that doesn't have enough evidence to like sit here and say that it's true.
And a lot of people have said like if they had that, like wouldn't it be better if they gave the cure out, like and actually make them more money if they had the actual cure? I
thought about that too. That's why I've just like always had trouble with the whole cancer conspiracy thing.
And no doctors are in on this at all. Like
I need to know more about it though. Like I think you and I both should learn more about that. And then like talk about it again.
But I mean, there is some facts to disprove it and say that statistically and mathematically, it's just not possible. For
and there's also people that say it's impossible for JFK.
No, I know.
And impossible for 9/11. So like we need to educate ourselves on both opinions and then come back with a podcast. And I definitely can't say if I think that's true or not.
But that's the thing is there's not a lot of evidence. There's not a lot of evidence.
But we haven't seen it all. So we need to wait.
Yeah, there's stuff out there probably, but
probably
it ain't easy to find.
I mean, there's a lot of people that believe that. So I just need to know more about it before I decide.
No, I'm with you. Because
I know a lot of people. I have comments all the time that people believe that.
I think
and
it's
people
possible.
who have cancer.
Anything's possible at this point.
That they believe that. So
anything's
I just don't
possible.
want to shut it down.
Right? Anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. So I think that's where we'll wrap up today's episode on Big Pharma. Obviously, we didn't cover like everything that's out there. This is like a huge fucking conversation.
It's already 2 hours. And I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk about Big Pharma on this podcast.
No.
I mean, hopefully we get like a pharmacist or someone on eventually.
Yeah, it'd be cool to like talk to somebody in the industry or somebody that was in it and knows the truth. And
that's really our goal for, we'd like to get some people that, have followings or like are well known, but we also want to just get people on the podcast who can just bring up valuable information and share.
Yeah, or who actually work and do. Yeah, is an expert. If you're an expert in the field,
experience in something, Right. So it'll be fun. I can't wait for next year.
It will. We're
gonna take it up a whole nother level.
That's right. We're just gonna keep taking it a mile higher, higher. Every single week is a mile higher until we're like fucking in outer space, guys.
Yeah.
Like
we started at 5280. So
we did. But if you guys enjoyed today's episode, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe on iTunes. And yeah, we will be back next week. I think we're going back a different way next week, aren't we? Are we doing crime maybe? I don't know. We might be going crime. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Not really sure what we're doing.
We'll decide. It's narrowed down to 2 things. We'll see.
I don't know. I kind of like just surprising them every week. None of you have any idea what we're doing.
Surprise. Unless you follow our Instagram and stuff, or our Twitter and Instagram.
Oh yeah, Mile Higher Pod on Twitter.
Sometimes we give hints.
We do. But yeah, that will conclude today's episode. Thank you guys for watching, listening. We appreciate all of you. Remember, Black Friday sale for milehighmerch.com.
Yes.
30% off. Some sweet
code
designs
is
too.
Turkey MF.
Got some sweet astronaut, like really cool designs coming. So
hell yeah.
Don't miss out. But that's it for us today. Stay woke.
Stay woke.
And stay
safe. Wait, I got confused.
Yes. We'll see you next time, guys.